I'm the kind of person, right, that I would politely tell my teacher, right, say so sorry, sir, I'm going to sleep in class now. I'm not going to listen. And then he also like, huh? My teacher sits me down after class, almost like a give up hope, right, that kind of. She told me,
She disappointed.
I think you should drop A math lah.
Oh no.
Youth these days, they tend to wear negativity as a badge of honor. It's like, oh, I didn't sleep last night, or oh, life is so tough. It's like negativity is something to be celebrated. You can be damn good at something, but if you're forever negative about things, right, you're not hireable because you will destroy the corporate culture, of the company.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Youth Tea Party, the show where we spill the tea on all things youth. We are not a political party and have no interest in running for office. I'm here to take over one episode and we can find out more about the man behind YTP. Yeah.
Hello,
Hello.
I am the man behind YTP.
I think a lot of people have been wondering, what's the story behind YTP? I know that you're a professor. So what's a professor like you doing on a podcast?
I started YTP because it came naturally to me. I am someone that develops very close learning relationships with my students. So we talk about a lot of things. The thing about learning is that learning is not just the actual content in a university, right? Learning is very emotional. Learning is all sorts of things. You need to think about yourself in relationship to the world, in relationship to your career, blah, 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 blah. So I always have all these kinds of conversations with my students. And naturally I thought, oh, these are conversations that other youth will want to hear and know about as well. So the podcast came naturally like that. One day I just had a conversation with one of my students and we just recorded it for fun. And then we just thought, why not just turn into a podcast? One thing led to another, and now we have I would say a decent amateur setup.
Wait, so before that conversation, you've never thought of like doing a podcast? Like Youth Tea Party wasn't an idea at all?
Yes and no lah. Yes, because I'm someone that loves to listen to podcasts. I commute to work and I always listen to podcasts. So I've always been interested in podcasts. But no, because as a professor, job is quite busy, right, in general. So I didn't really have much energy and time to think about it lah. But something changed, right? Some things changed in my career and now I'm starting a new project on youth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think it gave me a good excuse or rather opportunity to do this podcast law.
So this is part of the research?
It is part of my research. It is not taking away from my job.
Okay.
Yeah, it is part of my research.
Of course.
It will help me to improve my work.
Definitely.
Improve and not detract from.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, but why Youth Tea Party? Like, what's the reason behind the name?
Oh, the name. Youth like to say spill the tea, right? So, and then the whole idea of a party, right, is just to come in and have fun, have a chat, and I think you see that I try my best to adopt a very informal way of chatting. I don't want it to be too formal. So in a way, it's like just relaxing, having a party. The other meaning of the word party, and you said it just now in your opening spiel, is that I want it to be a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing, slightly irreverent, asking difficult questions, all these kinds of things. I want us to confront the difficult questions facing youth today. And I want us to discuss it in a way that is, I call it fun comfortable. It's uncomfortable, but it's also fun. Sometimes we can laugh at ourselves,
Yeah.
And I think one more thing I want to add is that I want this podcast to be really a platform for youth. Meaning, I don't want to fill this entire podcast with experts or adults that come here and then, give advice to youth per se. I want to hear more about youth and their stories and let youth give advice to youth. Of course, there will be opportunities for experts to come down sometimes, etc. And hopefully, as the setup improves, we have space for more people. Right now, we can only take one guest. Sorry.
So you're planning to increase the number of guests?
I hope lah. I mean, I'm shooting this out of my office now. So hopefully one day, if this gets enough traction, if this makes enough sense, then we try to make it bigger and then get more people to come and chat lah. Maybe after 50 episodes, I book one studio, then we can have like 10 people chatting together or something.
10 people?
No,
Isn't that a lot?
5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, just now you were mentioning about the opening, right?
Yeah.
I was wondering, because you told me the opening that you always say. Why is it ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls?
Oh.
And why is it so long?
You don't like lah. You hurt my feelings. No lah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, right, is the idea of gentleman for those of for male Singaporeans, they might know this comes from NS.
Okay.
Where those warrant officers and sergeants, those old sergeants, people from the past, right? Their English is not lousy, but some of the words, right, they pronounce it in a weird way, like gentleman. I see a lot of value in that. For me, what I'm trying to say here is that just because your English is not so good or you don't pronounce things so well, and etc., it doesn't mean you can't communicate.
Okay.
I want this to be a platform where people of all walks of life can come and communicate. Of course, the first few episodes I start with people around me easier, right? So these are all university students and some would argue elite students But eventually I want to open this up to people from all walks of life. So the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls is a kind of a play of on words, on syntax, on grammar, to say that people from all walks of life can have the right to communicate.
Wow.
To share their story basically.
Okay. There's a lot of wordplay in your promotion.
It's just me I like to play with words, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, now I'm curious, right? Since YTP is about youth, how would you describe your own youth in one word?
My own youth in one word?
Yeah, one word.
Comfortable.
Why comfortable?
It was comfortable, genuinely. I know, of course, having worked with youth today for quite a while now, there are a lot of issues and things like that, which we can go into later. But my own youth was comfortable because, first of all, my parents never really gave me pressure. Second of all, I had a very strong group of friends. And third of all, I genuinely didn't give a shit about my studies.
Okay.
That's why it was comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a very loaded answer.
Why loaded?
Because there's a lot of things that we can poke in the answer.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
Okay, so comfortable.
Poke away.
So there's a lot. It's very comfortable because you had a very you didn't really feel a lot of stresses, right? So that doesn't mean you were very naughty when you were younger.
I was.
So when was your
Very
rebellious
naughty.
period?
Okay, this one I can be very honest on. I was never really rebellious. Meaning, right? Okay, I'll give you an example.
So you were constantly rebellious?
No. I was never really rebellious. Like, for some reason, right, I respected people in authority. But I was never interested in studying. So I'm the kind of person, right, that I would politely tell my teacher, right, say so sorry, sir, I'm going to sleep in class now. I'm not going to listen. And then he also like, he also a bit stunned, right?
Do you get permission to sleep in class?
So after a while, they just let me be lor.
For real?
I'm not disrupting the class, but I'm also not listening. Yeah. I'll never ever forget this moment in my life. It was really quite funny. Like, I was in the last class in secondary school. And then we were doing A math, right? Additional math. And then my teacher sits me down after class. And this teacher is very fierce, I know.
Okay.
She will go around screaming at people. She's very fierce. But she sat me down after class, right? Almost like give up hope, right? That kind, right? She told me,
She disappointed.
I think you should drop A math.
Oh no.
I said, oh, okay, thanks. Then I drop.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's your response
Yeah,
to
then I was like, whatever, I drop. So I think I was really the kind of person that I really did not give a shit about my studies. Because it did not engage me. I wasn't excited by it.
Wait, that doesn't make sense, but you're a professor now.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? So all the way up to JC, right? I was really not excited about my studies. In J1, I almost retained. I was just in school every day playing football. I didn't really care about my studies, genuinely. But last time, we are a lot luckier than you are now. So last time to get into NUS FASS, which I did, right? And I eventually became a geography major, right? It was not hard
As in the cut-off
the cut-off, it wasn't very hard. Nowadays, it's very, very competitive
Okay.
For me, it really wasn't that hard. If it's nowadays, this kind of score, I cannot get in, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think slowly but surely becoming a geography major and actually finding some joy in learning in university, right? It helped me to improve myself. And I think from there, I was a bit of a late bloomer. Then from there, I became slightly more academically inclined. But honestly, right, being a professor, I feel personally, the academic side of things is one thing, but you need to be really good at other things. Project management, communications, all these kinds of different things. So for me, I would really urge people to understand that it's really not just about your academic performance only.
So do you pick up like all those project management, whatever skills along the way in your youth? Because you
Yeah.
didn't focus on academics.
Yeah, along the way. So like, even like from young, right, I would like manage a small football team, that kind of thing. And then like help my friends, because a lot of my close friends are much older than me. So sometimes they go out and work, right? Then they do part-time jobs and everything. I'll help them with it and everything. So in a way, I learn a lot from hanging out with older people, which is why I really see the value in mentorship, which is why also till now today, I want to be a mentor and a coach to youth, which is one of the reasons why Youth Tea Party was started also, right? To help people discuss things that are uncomfortable.
That means you only started to pick up in university. But why like the sudden change in one, like being more academically inclined?
It was really the NUS geography department. Till today, right, I'm a geography professor, right? I still tell my students this, right? And I mean it. I don't really care about geography. Yeah, which might shock a lot of them.
Okay.
But the truth is, I care about what geography gives me.
What does that mean?
So I don't care about geography per se, meaning, right, it's not like, oh my God, I love sustainability. Oh my God, I love cities.
Okay.
I don't really love the content per se. But I love the fact that applying a geographical lens or like, gives you a kind of analytical mind for you to shape your own relationship with society.
But how do you come into geography? Like, did a friend introduce you?
Oh, yeah. So, and she's going to be very happy that I mentioned her because she always asks me to mention her.
Oh, okay.
So I'll mention her. I had a friend called Jolene. We met each other when we were in year one, undergraduate days. And then we became friends. And Jolene was the kind of person that loved geography.
Oh.
Right? So she would rah-rah geography the whole day. And then I'm the kind of person that geography is just not for me. Even at the age, I was like, what is geography? Who cares and everything? And I was a very mediocre student. I was a linguistics major. I love linguistics, but I was shit at it. That's the truth. Because linguistics is word mathematics.
Word mathematics?
Yeah. And if you can remember, I had to sit out of A-math, remember?
Okay.
So my teacher was right. My mathematics wasn't very good. Yeah, so linguistics was word mathematics. And I remember studying very hard for linguistics because I actually enjoyed it. And I was like telling myself, I want to do well for once because I enjoyed it.
Oh, okay.
Still did badly. It was damn funny. I'll never forget, there was one exam, right? I went to the exam hall, right? Then I looked at the question, right? And apparently the question requires you to have examples from a foreign language.
Examples from a foreign
Yeah, so you need to answer the question, you need to give examples of something.
Okay.
But you need to use examples from a foreign language.
Okay.
So I remember raising my hand and asking my professor, I said, Prof, sorry, what does this question mean? Then she said, oh, but don't you remember during class we said that you have to prepare examples from a foreign language?
So you didn't remember?
I was like, whoops, I did not hear that. So I just sat there at the exam hall. I still remember, I just sat there at the exam hall. I literally cannot answer the question. So I just sit there.
Okay, then
I got C+. But
that's not that bad.
yeah, I guess not that bad. But for me, it's like, I never really thought about excellence and grades and what it meant to me. But I think studying geography helped me to think about it like that. So I wasn't really interested in geography. I was interested in it because I think that it helped me to really establish a culture of excellence for myself. And it sounds very cheesy, but that's the truth. It really did, which is one of the biggest reasons why I came back here to take a job here, fight so hard for the job here, so that I can give back to students. Wow. Thank you to the professors that once gave me this.
I wanted to know, right? Since you had very solid friends, right?
Yeah.
Then was your family also your support system?
My family, my family, I have two sisters. I'm the eldest, and my family growing up, both my parents work retail.
Okay.
So we have a small business, small family business, and they work retail, which really meant that I don't see them that often.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, the support system was okay, but I was very much left alone. But as in, my family is not the kind that will put a lot of pressure on me and everything. They left me to do what I wanted to do, which I think was completely fine. I enjoyed it a lot. And I think that's also one of the biggest reasons why I'm quite independent today. So, yeah, I mean, no issues with that. I would say that is the kind of support they gave. But when I had issues and everything, I had to talk to my dad or my mom. Yeah, generally they were very supportive. They were not like absent, so to speak, emotionally. They were definitely present emotionally, but of course because they were very busy.
So you dabbled in a lot of extracurricular, correct?
Yeah.
Then you didn't really care about your studies.
Yes.
Your friends were very solid.
Yes.
Your relationship with your family is very good.
Yes.
Then what did you struggle as a youth?
The one thing I struggled with was my self-esteem, but let me clarify it.
Okay.
My self-esteem when it came to football.
Okay.
I was someone that really loved football. Like really from young, I don't know why, I just loved it all. I really, really loved it. And I loved it very seriously. As in the kind that not only will I play every day, I'll read about it.
Wow.
I will learn about it. I will just, to me, it's like a very serious endeavor. Lor. But I was never good at it. That's the truth. I was never good at it.
Okay.
I remember in secondary 2. Yes, I remember in secondary 2, I wanted to be on the interclass team.
Okay.
But I was not the captain, right? And then I didn't choose the team. Then I was left out of the team.
Oh, okay.
And then they were asking, like, oh, who can be goalkeeper? Nobody wants to be goalkeeper, right? Football, everything. So I said, I can be.
Okay.
So I just volunteer.
Yeah.
Then became a goalkeeper. Then it felt quite natural to me. Like, it was quite okay. And then I was a decent goalkeeper and everything. And then I just joined.
Join what? Oh, join the class. Okay.
Yeah, just join the class. And then, I was never good. I would always remember this. Like last time when we go Bishan, right?
Yeah.
I was in Catholic High, right? So Bishan, there's a street soccer court. After school, right, everyone will go there. Bishan Park lah, Guangyang lah, Whitley lah, Cat High lah, everyone will go there. And it's the kind of court, right, whereby you lose, right, you have to wait at least 2 hours.
Huh? What do you mean?
That means they play next team. Yeah, nowadays you all don't really do this kind of thing, right? So it basically means, right, all of us will go to the court, right? Then we will challenge each other.
Wow.
The losing team, right, will go out lah. So the winning team will stay on.
Oh, okay, I get it.
And there's so many people, right, that you lose one time, you have to wait 2 hours. So I'll never forget. Every time after school, I'll go there, right? I'll play one time, right? Wait 2 hours, right? Play one time, right? Lose again, right? Then go home. Every day I was like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't good, but I love football.
Okay.
I think that did a lot of harm to my self-esteem. And it also maybe inhibited my improvement of football.
Because you just didn't feel very confident in yourself.
Exactly. Like,
Wow.
I love the game, but when I play, especially against like better players, always panic.
Oh.
So I guess it was a different kind of self-esteem. But that was also, I would say that was one of the biggest things that I struggled with in my youth. Maybe slightly more unconventional than other people, but I think it's something that maybe people till today still struggle with nowadays.
Like not feeling confident in a certain thing that you're very passionate about.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes most people will only be passionate about something they're confident in. Sometimes it's like that, right? You start with your confidence first.
Yeah.
Then, oh, I'm quite good at this thing. Then I develop my passion, right? But mine was not. I was just very passionate about football. But I was not confident in it. I wasn't good at it. Didn't really know how to improve. But yeah, spend a lot of money on football. Buy new boots, buy new balls, buy this, buy that. All sorts of shit.
Then how did you slowly... I mean, you were coaching football after university, right? So how do you gain back that?
Yeah. When I finished my O-levels, I was 16, right? So not like y'all. Nowadays, y'all finish O-levels, y'all going to internship or something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Really?
Part-time jobs, I think. A lot of them.
Nowadays, y'all finish O-levels, go and do internship. This is 神经病. 16 years old. Can you enjoy life or not?
No, cannot.
What I did was, after I finished my O-levels, right?
Yeah.
Every single night, I'll go downstairs and I will juggle the ball.
Just keep
juggling the ball. Because I was like, watching some videos and they were saying like, oh, the fundamentals of football is like ball juggling, ball mastery, all that kind of thing. I'll just go down and I'll juggle the ball every single night for about 4 months.
Oh.
And it got to the point where I could juggle like maybe 6,000 times.
I mean, in one sitting?
In one sitting, yeah. Huh? Yeah, or in one standing.
Okay.
No, but juggling 6,000 times is useless. No, it's useless. It's useless. As in, after a certain amount, it was useless. But I think I became so obsessed with it, right? Because I just wanted to improve, right?
Yeah.
But that also wasn't the best way to improve. It did improve my football, my touch and my ball mastery and whatever. Yeah. But it also didn't improve me enough, I think.
Enough as a holistic football player?
Yeah. I'll be very honest with you, and I would dare say that from when I was 20 until now, right, I've been improving every single year, even now. And I think the biggest improvement for me has been over the past maybe 8 years lah, when I realized that actually to be a good football player, right, your muscular fitness is very important.
Okay.
And I was like 58 kg, 176, super underweight, that kind. Zero strength in my body.
Oh.
So it's very hard to play. Very hard to play. You want to be a decent player, you want to enjoy your game, your muscular fitness has to be very solid.
So you started working on it?
So I started working on it. Muscular fitness.
But
Going to the gym, really going running, doing some explosive exercises, all that kind of thing.
So that started quite late.
Quite late, I would say. I would say aga maybe 8 years ago. Lor. So maybe when I was
So
like
when you
31.
were coaching,
When I was coaching, around there lah. Around there lah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I guess when I was coaching, I learned a lot more about football. So I need to teach my players certain things. So I also started to learn about diet, nutrition, all these kind of things. And yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't privy to all these things in the past. Or maybe I was, but I just didn't understand it that much, you know. So in the past, I just play football. I just think that the more you play, the more you improve. But that's not the case also. Right? You also need to improve your nutrition, your diet, your mindset, your thinking, your confidence, all these kinds of things. And I think that was a really good metaphor for my life also. It helped me to improve my self-esteem in something that I was passionate about also, and to go about the correct ways of doing it.
So when you were struggling as a youth, right, did it not impact the rest of your aspect of your life?
Okay, the reason why I say it did not impact because I didn't care about my studies, for example. Okay, but it came to the point that if I would lose a game of football, I would be genuinely very down for one whole week.
Wow.
That kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did your mental health take a toll?
I think not to the point that I got depressed or whatever, right? But I think I would just be in a really, really bad mood for the entire week. And I'm the kind of person at the time, I was still very immature. I would like really shout at my friends because of football. I would scream at them. I would quarrel with them. And over football, I can fall out with them.
Okay.
So immature in that sense. Like I took football too seriously. I still take football seriously till today. But again, like I mentioned just now, right? I take it seriously doesn't mean I should impose the same standards on other people. So that's something I learned over time. And I also learned how to forgive myself a bit more. Make a mistake, all this, never mind. It's just football. We learn. Last time I made one mistake, affect me the whole week. That kind, Quite jialat actually.
Okay.
Now that I think back about it. Yeah, thanks for opening up my trauma.
Wait,
no. I'm just kidding. It's not trauma.
But when you were being a football coach, right?
Yeah.
So that's like after university.
Let me think. Was it? Yeah, it was right after university. After I worked for a couple of years, then I went into coaching.
Did you bring those? Like, were you still struggling then? And if you were, then like, how did you cope with your own struggle while also imparting your knowledge to the youth?
I wouldn't say I was struggling because I was coaching a JC that we were not expected to win anything, right? It's not like we are championship material and we're going to win it. So for me, my objective was always for them in the short period, right? The thing about JC, right, is that it's damn jialat because JC sports, right, you literally only have like 1 year and maybe a couple of months to really get into the sport, right? After A levels already, then before that you just join only, take your time, everything. So it's not enough time to build a community.
Okay.
So my objective was very simple. For all my players who entered the CCA from the start and the end, I just wanted them to improve as much as possible. To me, that is enough already. So I went with that mentality. I never ever told them, I never ever held them to the standards of, why we never win this game? Why we never win that game? Of course, when we lose, I'll be a bit sad, right? But for me, it was always about helping them develop as human beings. And I think that was also when I maybe kind of noticed that I enjoyed working with youth, not just football, right? The youth part of the equation is also there. Yeah. I'll never forget this story, really quite interesting. Like, it was A division, right?
Yeah.
It was the actual competition. It was maybe like 85th minute, 5 minutes to full time. We were leading Serangoon Junior College. And then it was just Serangoon Junior College. We were leading Serangoon Junior College 3-2.
Oh, okay.
So I looked at my bench, right? And I looked at one of my boys, right? This is a guy that, he's not in the first team, but he really loves football. So it reminded me of myself, right?
Yeah.
Like I used to be like on the bench and everything. I love football, but I'm just not confident enough, not good enough. And that's fine. When I looked at him, I was like, told him, warm up. Come and get 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I thought, And this was an important game. It was not important, but I thought 5 minutes can lah, he can handle everything. So I told him, I said, you go in, you just relax, you just keep it calm. We got 5 minutes, we see the game out, and then we are in a very good position to make it to the next round. Okay. He went in, first tackle, he just rushed straight into the tackle, bam, he just tackles and then fouls the guy outside the penalty box.
Okay.
They scored the equalizer from the free kick.
Oh.
And then we got knocked out of A division.
Oh dear.
And you could see at that age, right, it's devastating, right? It's like you blame yourself for causing your school to lose and all that kind of thing. But at the moment I realized, right, I wasn't angry at all. Of course I was angry and I was disappointed. But all I wanted to do was to help him understand that it's okay and really try to comfort him. But more importantly, like I said, help him to really understand that this is part of life, part of sport. And I'm so thankful to know that, whether I made an impact or not, but he didn't quit football at least. Today, right, he's in the medical team, in the national team.
Oh,
in football. Yeah, exactly. So he pursued his passion, right, for something, right? He's still working in football today. I can just imagine if I'm not to say that I have a lot of influence over him or what, but imagine on that day I just started screaming at him in front of everyone. I said, "You useless," whatever. Then I think he's gonna be quite devastated. So I think at that point, right, I realized that I don't just like football. I actually like working with youth. That's what brought me to education and everything.
So as a professor now, right?
Yeah.
How different is it? Like what's different about the way you mentor, like coach youth?
If I can speak freely, I think, being in NUS and NUS geography especially, right? The students that come in, if you compare with the entire Singapore, these are an elite bunch of students. That is the truth, right? One thing I would say is that, people think that elite students are in a great position. Yeah, they are. But I've also seen firsthand in my life, right, that elite students suffer a lot from a lot of stresses. In fact, a lot of elite students are studying things that they don't want to. Yeah. Or they're studying things that they have passion about, but they have no confidence in. And they feel like geography, for example, a lot of people feel like, there's just no way out. You just have only a few job options. And they suffer a lot, right? And they suffer from intense competition as well.
Yeah.
And in very unhealthy levels of competition and very unhealthy levels of placing burdens on themselves. You get people who will do internship while they are studying.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not great. So that's one thing I learned also. How do I work with these people when what they have built over the years, right, is something that affects them so much, right? Their identity is so tied to their grades, so tied to success. But what does success really mean? So for me, when I try to teach, I really want to help them to understand that there are multiple pathways to success and ultimately happiness. If my students leave this place happy, right, and open-minded to the fact that life can be slowly negotiated and learned, right, then I think I would have succeeded.
What do you enjoy most about interacting with youth?
Okay, I'm very interested in how people approach life, especially the transition to adulthood, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just very intrigued by working with you all and learning from you all, talking to you all about all your worries and everything. And sometimes a lot of your worries, to me, I feel like it's irrational. But if an entire generation has this worry, then it's not irrational anymore.
I see.
It's something that has to be.
What worry?
Not being able to find a good job.
That is an irrational worry.
Yes, I find that it's irrational because the evidence already suggests that all of you go out to find good jobs.
Especially before they found a job.
Before, yes. They always worry, they always this, they always that. To me, it's irrational because it's like you're doing so well in school. You picked up all these skills. You just go and interview. Sometimes, they fail one interview, they're like, oh my God, I'll never find a job. A bit dramatic. But so I find it a bit irrational in that sense. Yeah. But also I understand, I'm more interested in understanding how come you have that worry in the first place.
Okay.
So I guess youth tea party, either way, you can consider it as part of the research, right? To really understand what youth are thinking and how they negotiate their transition to adulthood, or what adulthood even means to them.
Okay. Then what is one thing that really ticks you off about youth today?
negativity, but more precisely what they call trauma bonding. I use this with scare quotes here because trauma bonding is an actual psychological term.
Oh, okay.
That describes something completely different.
Oh.
Yeah, it describes, like, for example, if someone kidnaps you or something, right? Oof. And then you fall in love with that person.
Oh,
that's
okay,
the real
okay.
psychological trauma bonding. But I think youth these days, they tend to wear negativity as a badge of honor. It's like, I didn't sleep last night, or life is so tough. It's like negativity is something to be celebrated.
Yeah, I understand.
Which I don't like, because I always try to help you all understand that there are many things to be thankful for. And that if you really open your mind to learn, then you are going to get good opportunities in life. If you're just going to complain, you're not going to do anything, right? Then nobody wants to hire a negative presence. I can assure you this. One thing I want to tell youth is that, when people interview you, right, they're not just looking at your CV. They're looking at you as a person, what kind of presence you bring to the company. You can be damn good at something, but if you are forever negative about things, right, you're not hireable. Because you will destroy the corporate culture, of the company. Yeah.
Actually, I'm very curious though, like, why is it that, maybe you don't have the answer to it, but why is it that our generation particularly have this kind of mindset?
Wait, so you agree that your generation has this kind of mindset?
Like, I feel like from secondary school to JC to uni, we always bond over like what you said, not sleeping enough, or like, I have a lot of things to do, life sucks, all this. And when I was in JC secondary school, it was like I'm responsible for some of this. But as I come into uni, right, I realized that it's damn negative, like you said, and it really affects like my mental health. So I do think that it is still like our generation have this kind of mentality, at least in my own experience. But it doesn't make sense to me where did this come from?
But before I answer, I want to also really emphasize that there are many positive people around.
Yeah, of course.
There are. It's just that, of course, there are also many negative people around. And the positivity and negativity is also not fixed. Sometimes you can be positive about certain things. You can be negative about certain things. Some days you just have it worse. Some days you just have it better.
Yeah.
But in general, right? Yeah, there's a lot of negativity, I guess. I think because competition is so tough.
But why would that translate to, my life sucks?
Because when competition is so tough, saying your life sucks and focusing on the negative things first is actually a way, right, psychologically, right, of preparing yourself for the worst. It's kind of a coping mechanism, I think.
I see.
I don't know, for you, what do you think?
I feel like a lot of people who trauma bond think that it's a way of establishing solidarity.
Okay. Does it work?
I have no idea. For me, it didn't after a while when I realized it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know, really, like, sometimes I speak to people, ask them why they trauma bond also. A lot of them just say, coping mechanism. It's about, finding something to talk about, because people will always be ready to talk about this. It's a bit like people always say, Singapore guys always talk about NS and that kind of thing. I guess it's something that people easier to talk about. Or maybe some people don't even really believe in it. They just talk about it. But over time, right, it creates this culture, right, or what I can call like a regulating fiction, right? Because it regulates the behavior of people.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's not good. I always tell people, you don't trauma bond until you one day you believe in what you're trauma bonding. Right, you really believe that you suck. You really believe you're not good enough. Then that's very jialat. Yeah, so I always tell them the best way to do it is just not to trauma bond. Like, it's very challenging, but learning is challenging. Yeah. I mean, you're in one of the best universities in the world, right? You have to be challenged, right? You cannot come here and expect to just walk
smooth.
Walk smoothly and just walk to a degree. Right?
Yeah.
The degree is not just a piece of paper. It's there to really challenge you to grow your mindset. So I think trauma bonding personally doesn't help towards that. Yeah, but there are very positive people around. There are.
Share a story.
Every class I teach, right, there'll be one or two people who just help a lot with their classmates, help a lot with them. So simple things like, I need to move the tables and chairs. They will help without complaining. They just help. And they're always smiling. And they're always a very positive presence to their classmates. Like they will say nice things, they'll contribute to class. Even if they find things hard, they'll say, yeah, it's challenging, but never mind, let's talk about it. They will ask questions, they will this, they will that. I find it very positive learning. Every class there will be people like that.
Positive mindset towards everything.
Very positive. So it's very challenging and they find it challenging as well when I talk to them. But you see, normally when I ask people, oh, how are you doing? How's life? Say, I want to die lah, forget it lah, I'm dead lah, something. But this positive, I ask them, oh, how's life? Yeah, not too bad lah. I mean, a lot of work, but it's good. Yeah, challenging, relishing the challenge. You just think about it lah. If you go for an interview, it's true. Who would your employer hire? And you see, that's the thing. I always tell people, right? Don't trauma bond until it becomes part of your identity. Then when you go for interview, right, you don't even know you are doing it. But your negative body language, the responses you give to certain things, very experienced employers can pick out on. So they'll see, this person, okay, maybe KIV. But if this person is just in general very positive about things and everything, right? You may not be like the most skilled in something, right? But at the end of the day, the employer will say, oh, this person good, coachable, can learn. I'm willing to invest my resources to hire him. Don't forget, when someone hires you, you're not just doing a job for them. They also have to have invested resources in you. Yeah. So that's one thing I would like to say to the youth of today. Try to see the good in things. There will always be bad things. Always. But try to see the good in things.
That was deep.
Deep, eh? I can go a lot deeper already. There are a lot of deeper conversations to be had.
Okay.
But maybe next time, I'm a bit tired.
Okay. So, I wanted to know, right, how has your experience been having these conversations with like all your guests?
Yeah, thank you for this question, man, because this has been one of the most humbling learning experiences for me. It really has been. Before I talk to my guests, right, I just talk about like how to even do a bloody podcast and how to do videography, post-production, how to learn how to use a camera, how to work with mics, audio, software. Oh, I tell you, man, it's not easy.
Understand.
And I really learned from scratch. So I watch YouTube. I heard this quote before, right, and I think it's super relevant. He said that if you watch something right on YouTube for 10,000 hours, right, I don't believe you won't become an expert.
Okay.
And it's true, actually. So I just watch every waking minute I have. I watch videos. I watch videos about lighting, I watch videos about how to speak into a mic. I watch videos about sitting up straight. I watch videos about how to decorate.
Sitting up straight.
Yeah. Because I always slouch, right? They got on they got teach you. They say, oh, sit up straight engage your core this kind of thing. Yeah. Then like how to decorate a room, the lighting, the this, the that, which camera to use, what camera to buy. I watch all sorts of videos and then I learn.
But I didn't translate.
It's not that I didn't translate, it's that every single episode, right, something will go wrong and I'll learn from it.
Oh, okay.
It's literally learning by experience. So even though the quality of my videos are not going to be great at the start, it doesn't matter to me. I think it's part of the learning, the learning process. So I've had problems with video, audio, color, this, that. But I learn. Every single time something goes wrong, I learn. So let's see if this episode will be the first one that nothing goes wrong.
So for YTP, right, do you draw any inspiration from any other like mentor or anything?
Oh, have. A variety of people. I think the first one I really drew inspiration from was the Woke Salaryman. They have a podcast also. Woke Salaryman, they do content. They're artists actually. So they do like comics, right? Comics and content about life in general, but focusing a little bit on finance, right? But I love their podcast. Very relaxing, not overly produced. In fact, it's very simple, right? There's really very little post-production, but I really like the vibe. And I just like what they talk about in general. So I actually quite respect them a lot and I draw a lot of inspiration from them. In terms of what I want to be, right, in terms of like working with youth and everything, I draw a lot of inspiration from communications coaches, mindset coaches. One that I really like is this Vietnamese Australian guy called Vinh Giang. I've signed up for his stuff also. So I'm going to do his master classes soon, actually. I just like him. He's very personable and I think he markets to his audience very well. There are many communications coaches out there that can only really work with C-suite people or this or that. C-suite, like CEOs, that kind of thing, right? But because I don't work with youth, so I learn a lot from him in terms of how to adapt the way you teach people. I think that's very, very important. Yeah, and I like him. I think he's very likable. The thing about all this kind of coaching and all that kind of stuff, right, is like it is something each person will have a more suitable coach for that person. Right?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, if I'm the best coach in the world, right, it means everyone will like me.
Yeah.
I may be the best coach in the world, right, but actually there'll be a good 20-30% of the population, right, that cannot work with me. Right? Yeah. So I want to learn how to be more adaptable to youth, especially. And not just elite youth, but youth from all walks of life. I mean, that is, of course, something for the future. Yeah.
Talking about the future though, what is the future of YTP? What do you have planned? Like your aspirations for it?
I think I want to let YTP flow a little bit serendipitously also. This podcast is going to continue, of course, but YTP is not just a podcast.
Okay.
YTP will also be a platform where I share some tips, advice, exercises for youth to help improve their relationship building, their mindset, their communications, right? And also maybe a bit of academic stuff. But it's about sharing things. And I said at the start that I want this to be a youth-centered thing, right? I don't want to come in, find experts to share things all the time, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also want to make sure that from the stuff that I gain from talking to youth, right, like you're right, I want to make sure that there is something valuable to take away also. Of course, from watching the podcast itself, there will be valuable things to take away. But I think creating short-form content on a consistent basis to share, right, will be really helpful. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you very much to Shimin for hosting this today.
Yes.
Please like, share, subscribe, send it to everyone so that you can help grow, so that we can upgrade our equipment also to bring you better quality.